Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Sorial. I'm VP of Product here at ShardSecure, and with me is Julian Weinberger. Julian, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much for joining. My name is Julian Weinberger. I'm the field CTO here at ShardSecure.
All right, thanks, Julian. So today, just want to give you a quick overview on ShardSecure and share some exciting news that came out of Gartner, and go a little deeper into the platform with an overview. So with that, for those of you who don't know about us, ShardSecure has been in business for a number of years. We were founded in 2019. And really, our mission in life is to help our customers simplify data security, privacy, and resilience. The company was founded by a team of really senior security veterans, which is great. Our technology is patented and can be deployed in any number of ways, whether on-prem, in the cloud, or multi-cloud. It's an agentless file level protection solution or platform, which really has a lot of capabilities, which we'll go into in more detail. But again, from a high level, it's about protecting data, it's about offering privacy, and it's about offering resilience. We have a footprint that's kind of global. So HQ is in New York, and we have sales teams in Europe as well as R&D and support kind of all over. With that, so let's go on to the exciting news. So in August this year, we were named a Gartner Cool Vendor in privacy, and just wanted to spend a couple of minutes and talk about what Gartner looks for in terms of the Cool Vendor um, kind of a recognition. So those vendors or those products and services, they have to be innovative, impactful, and intriguing. And by innovative, what they're looking for is solutions that enable users to do things in a different way that they couldn't do before, or that are materially different from other options in the market. So really looking for kind of unique and novel approaches to solving problems. The other one is impactful. So those are products and services that have transformative impact on a business. So those are things that are just different, but then also kind of high value from an impact perspective. And then the last category or the last criteria is that they're intriguing, in that these solutions or products have piqued Gartner's interest and curiosity, and are worthy of mention. So that's basically the category. That's basically the recognition, and that's the criteria that goes with it. So with that, let me turn it over to Julian and just do a quick overview on ShardSecure and what we do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. So ShardSecure is a platform that covers different issues with data and what data does and what kind of the headaches it introduces to us from a security, from a privacy, and also from a resilience point of view. So one of our pillars is file level protection. It's basically, how do I deal with sensitive data and how do I protect them? How do I make sure they're decoupled from the infrastructure? And how can I do that very, very fast and very performant? So this is more about data that is sensitive from a compliance point of view, like your personal data and so on, or business sensitive data, and that could be anything from things like accounting data, or we've seen a lot in the AI and machine learning space recently. Of course, since we're protecting the data, that also gets us into the privacy field. And what we're really driving there is separating the data owner from the infrastructure owner. And that helps us in a lot of different settings that come up in privacy nowadays, because it really is about, in privacy, it's about who can access it to what, where does it reside, how can it actually be transferred over different borders, how is data sovereignty and data residency here really addressed. So all of that our solution provides as well. And then last but not least, we have noticed that once you protect the data, for example, you lock it down so no one can read it, you still need to make sure it's available and it's correct data. So we also have a data resilience feature set that helps you with issues like outages in the cloud or ransomware, things like data tampering, anything that could really, really affect the health of your data in one way or another. And we've seen a lot of traction, actually, all three of those pillars. But for today's purpose, we're obviously focusing on the privacy piece. So what does ShardSecure really do? So ShardSecure is an agentless data protection and resilience platform. Means like we take care of data from different angles as long as they make it more secure. ShardSecure sits between anything that reads and writes data, so like applications, servers, or endpoints or tools, to the storage location where the data is stored. So that could be anywhere in the cloud, that could be on-prem, that could be basically in any kind of system. So we transparently sit in between both of those and look like an abstraction layer. And then this abstraction layer, we can introduce data security, like we can encrypt data, we can have the data spread out over different locations. So that helps a lot with the data privacy, especially in Europe. We can also introduce resilience to the data. The beauty of this entire thing, it's extremely easy to implement because it's a plug and play for your existing structure. All of your operations, basically, or all of your tools read already from storage and write to storage. So for us, it's just hooking in and looking like storage. The other benefit we have to other alternatives that are in the space is really about, oh, what's the performance impact? We're an extremely performant solution. There's minimal to no performance impact, especially if you see when data goes to the cloud and where it's stored. It's extremely performant. There's no agents required anymore, so there's no need for installing anything on servers or applications or anything like that. And last but not least, we are FIPS 140-2 level 1 compliant as well. So this solution has been adopted for wide use of use cases, but I would like to walk you through what are the use cases really we've seen, which we've seen over and over again, and customers adopting ShardSecure for it. So we have a handful of use cases we've seen. The first one is file server protection. Every time we talk about privacy, it's really about, basically a least privilege or zero trust of like who can read my data. And a lot of times at file servers, people are concerned, can I actually have my file server admin read my HR data, for example? So that's a very sensitive topic we need to address, and that's where we've seen a lot of uptick there. And all of this, obviously, any kind of larger data repositories, large file server, are also target for ransomware attacks. So that's another thing we apply into. The same applies actually to cloud storage. If we think about cloud storage, it's like, okay, it's similar to a file server where we store data in someone else, then I have an admin that can actually still read the data. But on top of that, I also have a service provider reading the data. So that's the same issue we're tackling there. How do I really break down that my cloud admin or even my service provider cannot read my data? And then also address some of the data residency and compliance issues. So in the cloud a lot, especially in Europe, as well as in APAC, it's like, how can I move my data that, for example, is European data into an American cloud provider, right? A lot of different things you need to take care. How do I desensitize it? How do I make that easy? All of that needs to be addressed so actually people can adopt the cloud without violating any privacy concerns there. The other one I think has been interesting recently is just that there's an uptick in AI and ML recently, and models and data sets are very important, from training data sets to the models itself, and they need to be protected. So we've seen an uptick there when how can I protect my actual model? How can I protect my data set from any kind of exposure? How do I make sure that no one else actually trains their own model on my data, for example? Or how do I protect against AI poisoning, right? Basically, how can I make sure that no one tampers with my data set? So another great use case we've seen a lot. in in another realm, which is not necessarily production data as the ones in the blue, we have backup storage protection, which we've seen a lot. A lot of customers would like to move their backups around, be a little bit more dynamic on where they're stored and how they're secured. So we provide there basically an alternative for an air gap solution around them. How do I store my backups extremely secure so they're protected from any kind of angle, from data leakage or data theft to data tampering to outages? All of that needs to be protected. The other one, which is not necessarily privacy, depending on how you see it, is ransomware protection. I mean, ransomware has two kind of legs. Usually it steals your data and then it locks your data down. So both of that is obviously in concern. With ShardSecure, ransomware cannot necessarily steal the data anymore, since the data has been desensitized. And ShardSecure enables you to self-heal in real time. So if there is a ransomware attack, and let's say parts of your organizations are locked down by a ransomware, we can self-heal and your operation is still running. So that the benefit here is really you don't need to go through any last resort like backup recovery process to get there. You're still up and running, and you can look into your actual incident. Last but not least, what we've seen an uptick as well is data security for SaaS providers. And SaaS providers reach out to us because they would like to provide data security to their customers. Like, probably you whoever listens to that video is probably thinking about data security and how do I do that with SaaS providers. So SaaS providers get those requirements from customers about really data security and trust. How do I trust my SaaS provider? So SaaS providers have been implementing ShardSecure to provide those vehicles and these controls of, like, for example, bring your own key, bring your own storage, cryptographic tenant separation, data residency, all of those things to their customers. And with ShardSecure, it's really just an easy plug and play. And talking about a plug and play, so how does this entire thing really work? I've talked about it's very easy to implement a couple times. So let's look at it. So as I mentioned earlier, ShardSecure is an abstraction layer, and we basically look like storage, feel like storage, but we implement the security side of things there. So on top of the slide, you have like virtual machines and applications and basically microservices, everything that kind of reads and writes data or creates data in your environment. And they all have basically those three common storage types or in common. That's object storage, that's block storage, and it's file storage. So an object storage is used usually in your microservices or things like applications that store net backups. Block storage is what you use for virtual machines and databases, things like that. And file storage is your typical file share where you store data. So we look like any of those and receive the data through it. Once the data hits us, we apply policies on the data. That means, how do I protect the data? Do I need to spread the data out, for example? Do I need to make sure the data resides in a certain region for privacy? How is the data recovered? Things like that. And then store the data in the backend. The beauty of this is it's completely transparent to any of the applications in the front end. They just need to know how to read and write data to storage, and they know that anyways, and we take care of the rest. So it's a very easy a way to really introduce data security, as well as tackling some of the privacy concerns there are in this world, right? For example, how do I store my European data at an American cloud provider? Or how do I ensure that there's a cryptographic lockdown between my system admin or my file server admin and the actual data? So it's a very easy way to really implement it. If you want to learn more, thank you so much for joining. Go to ShardSecure.com. There are more information available. We also have the Gartner Cool Vendor report in Privacy 2023 on our website. Feel free to download this as well. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you all.